Hello friends, welcome back to Bio for Life classes. I am Monica Sharma and this is the last part of video lecture series that we are doing of chapter 1, The Living World Biology for class 11th NCERT. We have already discussed in detail the definition of living things and the important characteristics that we use to define or differentiate a living form from a non-living thing. This we have done in part 1. In part 2, we have discussed important terminologies, for example, identification, nomenclature, classification, the differences between these terms. We have already talked about the procedure for binomial nomenclature, taxonomy hierarchy, and so on. The link for these two videos have been provided in the description box. It is my suggestion that you please go through those videos before you move to part 3. We have discussed everything in detail in those parts. So I have put the screenshots that you can see, that is for chapter 1 part 1. This is chapter 1 part 2. Please go through it. Now we'll start with taxonomical aid. Before we move to taxonomical aids, let us understand what is a taxonomy. As हमने ऑलरेडी बहुत डिटेल में टेक्सोनॉमी और टेक्सोनॉमिकल हायरार्की को डिस्कस किया हुआ है, बट आई विल जस्ट गो थ्रू अ वेरी ब्रीफ इंट्रोडक्शन, सो you can be able to link your concepts with the concepts which we have just studied earlier. So what happens, what we actually do, what is there in the chapter 1? Suppose you find a new organism. Whatever new organisms you are finding in any field or in an area across the world, what do? You try to describe the external features or the important features of that organism, which are external, also which are easily observable and recognizable. So once you define it, the process of describing its physical properties is called as identification. The entire process of describing it is known as identification. Once you identify a particular organism and describe its important and essential characters, then you try to name it. You give it a name. Now that process of naming that individual is known as nomenclature. Now this nomenclature is done on the basis of certain universally accepted guidelines. One such example is binomial nomenclature. The binomial nomenclature is given by Carolus Linnaeus, and in this what happens, for example, in case of mango, it is also called Mangifera indica. So these are made up of two words. The first word is known as genus and the second word is known as species. So this is called binomial nomenclature. The entire rule, how do we do it, the process, everything is already discussed in detail in the previous videos. Please go through it. Now once identification is done, nomenclature is done, then on the basis of the certain similar properties, you try to keep similar things into one category. Now this entire process of classification is known as taxonomy. The process is known as classification, and the branch dealing with this, the study that we do for the classification, is known as taxonomy. So basically taxonomy is derived from a word called taxon. The taxon is known as rank, or in layman language we can say it's a category. So we are putting different things into different category. Why do we do it? We do it for the ease of our studies or the research scientific discoveries that we do on a daily basis. Now we'll come to this part. The part is taxonomical aids. Aids means help. So we are going to discuss the various tools which assist us to study taxonomy. Now, if you go by the definition, you can see here, it is the procedures, the methods, the techniques to store and preserve the specimen. It's important to note here, we are going to store it and preserve it. Once you are storing and preserving it, then you are going to write the related information regarding it, and then you study about it. Now everything is done very scientifically, and it's very common or uniform all across the scientific world, so as to have a good communication of the knowledge in between them. Now, what is the need? Why do we do it? We do it because it helps us to classify different groups on the basis of various things. For example, once you classify something into a particular group, for example, you are telling something, suppose very broadly we take two categories, that is plants and animals. So something you put in a plant, something you put in the animal category, and when you do it, you try to study every minute detail of that specimen. Once you study the details or the information or the properties of that individual, you come to know the potential, how we can use that organism in our various fields like agriculture, forestry, industries. So we are basically converting a particular group of organisms into bioresources which are helpful for us in the human way. So this is what we do. The taxonomical aids are nothing but the tools by which we use to do taxonomical studies. Number one, there are many things. I'll discuss whatever is written in your NCERT in detail so as to make it easier for you. Number one is herbarium. Now we need to keep in mind that herbarium is only for the plant specimens. Here you can see it's written, I have bold, I have kept all the important things in the bold. So it's only for the plants. The plants are basically, I'll show you the picture. This is the picture how it is done. What happens? You come across a new plant. You try to dry it. You press it and you paste it on a sheet. Beside that, the part, you try to describe its features. For example, you describe how many petals it has. Whatever easily you can see through your naked eyes, you try to describe everything about it. You are writing its information, right? Now, which plant, from where you find the plant, are these plants very prevalent in your area, or what is the height of the plant, what is the width of the plant, what are the roots look like, and many things. You write everything about that particular specimen. So here one thing has to be noted, that the plants here are not living. We are taking them, we are drying it, pressing it, preserving it on the sheet. So it's basically we are dealing with the dead plant specimens. Now these are done in a very scientific manner. It's not that you take any plant and you just paste it on your copy and that becomes a herbarium. No, these are stored in a very, very large scale, and these are done in a very scientific way, because the basic word here is preservation. You are supposed to preserve it. If you're not doing it in a scientific manner, the things will get spoiled, and there is no purpose for that. So once these sheets are now arranged universally, and then any person from scientific world all across the world can access to that information. So here it's written, it carries the label, we do the labeling, we write about the date, the place of collection, the local names or botanical names or scientific names of that plant, which family. The family is one of the example of a taxon. The collector's name, you write your name and everything about it. Now the way we do it, by the end of an exercise, we receive or we get a large numbers of plant sheets. So those are collected and stored, and that thing becomes herbarium. I don't know if you have done in your school life, or if you're doing it, or if you're going to do it, but when I was in school, this exercise was to be one of the homeworks we used to get in summer vacations, and we were told to get all the leaves or the flowers that we are finding in our surroundings, and we write about it and we paste it. So we sort of used to prepare very model way of herbarium in our books or copies or whatever, and that is the basic practice we used to do when we were in school. It was so much fun. The second part is botanical gardens. Now, in this, the first one was herbarium. In case of herbarium, we are dealing with the dead plants. But here, in case of botanical gardens, we are not going to cut anything out of the plant, but we are having the collection of living plants. So here, living plants becomes important. So living, we are growing the plants in a particular area, and we are taking care of everything, of its nutrition and other things that it need to grow. And also we designate something as botanical garden if it is already naturally present in any part of the world. So the famous botanical gardens are in England, Or in case of India, we have many Indian Botanical Garden in Havra. Now I'll just tell you extra information. Here I have taken a picture of the Acharya Jagdish Chandra Bose Indian Botanical Garden. It's in Kolkata. So why have I have intentionally put this picture? Because in this 2020 we had an unfortunate event of Amphan cyclone that hit the eastern part of India, including the Kolkata and the eastern states. So in that cyclone, this area, this botanical garden was completely, or most of the things were devastated. It was destroyed. So now the restoration process is going on. So this is one example of botanical garden. We are preserving it. We are taking care of the living plants, and also we are studying about it. It's everything. It's height. It's the way of metabolism going inside it, and everything. Whatever the features of a living thing that we have already covered in the part 1, that all details we are studying. So this is one part of this is one way of doing your taxonomical studies. The third, this is another example I have put. So you can see lots of animals, lots of plants being grown and being taken care of. The third is museum. Museums are nothing. There are many kinds of museums where you keep and store many things. They can be historical museums. They can be, here we are talking about biological museums. So these biological museums, we are keeping the specimens preserved in the containers or jars. So I don't know if you have been to your biology lab, because you know that you have lots of practicals to be done in this semester, or in this class 11th, your practicals are going to start as well. So when you go in your bio lab, you will see a lots of just like that, you will see a lots of specimens, stored in a container in a liquid solution. That liquid solution is nothing but the preservative that is required for it to preserve it for a longer period of time. Now what happened is that that one example for the liquid preservative is formalin. In my lab, in my schools, there were many specimens kept like that, and formalin was the most common used preservative in all those specimens. So what happens, यहाँ पे specimens को containers में रख रहे हैं, and we are keeping it in the preservative solutions and we are studying it. Now it can be also be studied, preserved as dry specimens. Here you can see, here I have put some examples. These are things kept in the liquid solutions, and most probably this can be formalin. And also you will find many dry specimens also. So what these dry specimens are mostly for the birds and animals. They're stuffed and they are kept in the museums, and people go there and watch it, and everything is written on. There will be a labeling over here, and you can read about that specimen. Now these two pictures I have taken by myself when I was doing my BTech in biotechnology in VIT in Tamil Nadu, Vellore. There we had a very beautiful museum, and I was fortunate to visit that on one of the days, and there I clicked these two pictures. These are this came under the Tamil Nadu government then. So here I hope this thing is clear for you, how these specimens are kept. Now here is also written, the larger animals like birds and mammals are usually stuffed and preserved, as you can see in this picture. The fourth one is zoological parks. There is no I don't think so there is a requirement to even understand it, because we all have been to a lot of zoos as kids, and this would be the one of our first adventures that we had when we were children. So this is one of the way where we keep the wild animals in their protective environments. Now these can be they can be kept in their natural habitat, or we create one such, and these are completely under human care. What happens, यहाँ पे हम इनके food habits के बारे में, इनके behavior के बारे में, and we study a lot about them. So this is zoological parks. You will find zoos in most of the parts of our country. So it's you have been to that place, there's nothing much to explain about it. Now the fourth one is key. Key is one of the important taxonomical aid that we use to classify. Now I'll tell you, I have taken a very hypothetical example. It's not I'll try to explain you with an example. Now let's see. Here there are 3 fruits. Okay, I have kept 3 fruits. There is mango, watermelon, and apple. So what happens? I have found a new organism or a new fruit. Let's say fruit. मुझे एक नया फ्रूट मिला है एंड आई एम कॉलिंग इट एन एक्स. नाउ आई वांट टू नो कि ये जो एक्स है ये कौन से कैटेगरी में फॉल होता है. क्या इज इट रिलेटेड टू मैंगो, और इज इट रिलेटेड टू वाटरमेलन, और इज इट रिलेटेड टू द एप्पल. I'm just taking an example. This is not necessarily happen. So I'm just taking an example to make you understand in a very simple language. तो अब क्या हो रहा है कि आई एम गोइंग टू एक्स के बारे में, आई एम गोइंग टू आस्क क्वेश्चंस, आई एम गोइंग टू पुट द स्टेटमेंट्स in a pair. Now this each statement about it, statement 1 and statement 2 are called lead. तो एक statement को lead कहते हैं, and together they form a pair, and that pair is called as couplet. So one by one we try to give answer on the basis of similarities and dissimilarities. For example, I am talking about X. So the first question that arises is the outer covering edible or not edible? So अगर for example I'll tell you the answer. The X is watermelon. We are talking about the watermelon here. So what we are doing? The first question is outer cover edible or outer cover not edible. Here one statement will be the false and one statement will be true. The false one is outer cover is not edible. So in this process, in this procedure, the apple category is eliminated. Now we are left with 2 categories. Outer cover not edible. Now once we are done with outer cover is not edible, we are moving to the next couplet. The next couplet has 2 lead, and one is that does it have a single seed or do it have a multiple seeds? So the answer is it has multiple seeds. So again the mango category is eliminated, and what we are left is the watermelon category. So after going through 2 couplets and 4 leads, we are reaching to a conclusion that this X is related to watermelon. So we are going to put this X in the taxon of a watermelon. It means we are putting the X in the category of watermelon. So this is all about the key. This is all about the process that we do in key. So here I'll just read it out and you will be much clear. Identification is done on the basis of similarities and dissimilarities. Here there are certain similarities between watermelon and apple, and also dissimilarities between the two. At each step we are eliminating one thing or the other. The keys are generally in the pair, and this pair is known as couple. Each statement in the couplet is called lead, and there are separate taxonomic keys which are also already present. Taxonomic keys here is nothing but these categories that we have already discussed. Now we were analyzing in each step, that is why key are generally called as analytical in nature. So this is how you come to a conclusion. You put something into a new taxon, you put something in a new category, and this process is known as the key. Apart from these 4, we have others also. In case of others, we have flora, fauna, manuals, monogram, and catalogs. Nothing much is given in your NCERT, and nothing much is also required, keeping in view the examination questions. So flora is nothing, but in a given area, we are going to study about the plants. The same if we are studying about animals, it becomes fauna. And here we are talking about a given area. In case of manuals, what we do, we compile the complete information of all the families and all the species present in a particular area. That is why manuals will consist of flora also and fauna. So here we say that manuals are more broader than the flora and the fauna, because manuals has both the categories in it. The other way is monogram. Monograms means one. So here we are studying the complete information about one particular taxon, that is one particular category. And the last one is catalog. When we are listing all the species in a well organized manner, it becomes a catalog. Now catalog is important because it makes our study, taxonomical studies are much easier. So these are the ways by which we do taxonomical studies, and these are very basics has been given in your NCERT book, and these whatever I have explained you in this slide is more than sufficient for examination point of view. After going through the entire slides, and please go through your book once, have a self-reading, do a self-reading, and then you come to a question and try to attempt it. How is a key helpful in the identification and classification of an organism? In this question, firstly, you need to understand the difference between identification, classification, what are these terms mean, and how key as a taxonomical aid is going to help in the identification and classification of an organism. To answer this question, you need to go through all the three parts of the video lecture and try to attempt it. With this, we come to the end of today's discussion, and with this we also come to the end of the chapter 1, class 11th NCERT. Please go through your books, have a read, and try to attempt the questions which are present at the end of your NCERT book. For any doubt, you can always ask me in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to help you in the same. Take care. All the best.